There's something ominous about this title, but I can't tell what. Alright, so here's our new hairstyle. So, there is actually a difference between the male and female avatars' hairstyles if they choose the headband. Of course, for the female avatar, it's pretty much just Cecil's, except whatever your normal hair color is. For the male avatar, it's actually more of an Ike-like hairstyle, if not an actual Ike. I don't know if that's something you can ask for in Fire Emblem. Can you just go to a barber and say, hey, give me the Ike? Are you trying to guilt me? Hey Cecil, tell him to go eat shit. You tell him. Eat shit, asshole, fall off your horse. Also the fact that, like, basically all of the important knights of Altia were like, hey, let's join this team. Which, I know I've said it before, pretty significant advantage. Yeah, it's like it's only been 7 prologues since we met. Alright, apparently Katarina doesn't get nostalgic, which, I guess to be fair, her past does kinda suck, but other than that, I guess I'll just take your word that she doesn't normally get nostalgic. You know, considering I didn't see these 3-4 months we've been here. Oh, wow, that's it? That's an easy knighting ceremony. Alright, you're knights now. That's it. I don't know why we bothered with a ceremony, it just seems so casual. You're knights now, congrats! Good job, you did it. Alright, now let's go break for breakfast. It's really not that sacred. Does that mean we're calling breakfast off? I hope not. Alright, well, I guess first day on the job. Didn't expect to be performing our actual service like literally seconds after being knighted, but here we are. I like how the way that's written makes it seem like Cecil has more of an issue that she's not named Katarina. The betrayal, whatever, but God, I thought I could call you Katarina. But I can't? Jeez. Anyway, so yeah, if you look at the map, we're backed into a corner. Things really aren't looking too good, huh? I mean, she was really ellipsying a lot. I should have known, but I thought she was just sad. It's probably not that bad, it's still a tutorial fight. Okay, Marth, you don't seem to know how knights work. No, Marth, like, this is our job. You just hired us to kill your enemies for you. We prevent your death, not the other way around. Oh my god, Marth. I know this really isn't like a normal monarchy or anything like that, because Marth's a good person and he does do some fighting, but like, come on. I agree with Luke. And then Rhodey's tongue just leaps out of his mouth after saying that. I mean, to be fair, all our enemies thus far have just been instructors pretending to be our enemies for the purpose of training us. Now we're fighting people with actual killing intents, and one of them's our friend. It's a bit of a different situation, but I suppose we gotta manage. Alright, so why don't we talk about Cain real quick, because he is available after the last chapter, but we won't be using him. So provided you fought him in the previous prologue, Cain is actually our 4th Cavalier. Now, if you haven't been looking at the screen until now, you're probably thinking, well, that sucks, why are we getting so many Cavaliers? We should get less of them. Well, even if he is our 4th Cavalier, I can't fault those stat growths. Like, I used him in Shadow Dragon, when his stats were a little more skewed towards certain places and he had some more glaring weaknesses. Here, though, Cain is just pretty good around the board. His HP, skill, speed, and luck are all fantastic, and his strength and defense aren't terrible. Like, they're about the same points as some of our other Cavaliers. Cain is yet another sword-designated character, but he actually has a D in his lance stat, meaning he can pick up slightly better lances than the other Cavaliers can at this point in the game. Of course, he doesn't have that much of an opportunity to do so, but at the same time, it's something you're going to want to remember. And of course, if you don't like the fact that he's yet another Cavalier, keep in mind that Cain is actually perfect for reclassing. Because his stats are so good across the board, that means that anytime his stat growths are lowered, he's not going to take a huge hit, but anytime he gains stat growths, it means that stat is going to be amazing. For example, as a Myrmidon, he has 90 HP and 90 speed. Like, that's pretty damn amazing. And he only has a 5% reduction in his skill growth rate. Like, he's just really good. Well, of course he doesn't really make an amazing mage, but that shouldn't really be a huge surprise. Even still, he functions perfectly well as a Cavalier, and if you really need him as something else, he can fulfill those niches, provided he doesn't have to wield the elements of the earth. Alright, Cain's probably been talked about. Alright, so, I guess we'll get started then. This is gonna have to be good enough. I can see you, Prince Marth, he said, standing behind a wall. Alright, let's get this started by, well, looking at Marth. Hey, what do you know, it's finally time to talk about the game's main character. So, Marth has some pretty high growth rates. Of course, his defense and resistance aren't amazing, but, you know, he's gotta have some weakness. Now, Marth does have one major drawback, and it's one that I'm probably going to talk about more in detail later, but he doesn't have a promotion. Which means he won't get any boosted stats from promotion, and also he won't gain anything cool like new weapons or a horse. Nope, he's just a normal-ass lord forever. Now, on the bright side, he does get a few tools throughout the game that will help him, and while they are useful, it would be nice if he could just promote. I'd like that. Oh well, it's too early to be worried about that. For the time being, just take solace in the fact that Marth has some pretty good base stats and some really great growth rates. Alright, so now we actually have the main character, which is probably the thing I said in the character bio. I don't know just yet. I haven't done it yet. So, the beginning of this chapter is the most tricky part about it. Because these thieves aren't so bad on their own, though with those steel swords they can definitely do some damage to you. No, it's the fact that by killing them, you put units in range for the units behind them, which is a couple of archers, so you can't really use Seda, and an axe user, so you doubly can't use Seda. But the thing is, we're still kind of at a point where we can't really dodge that well, so chances are that axe wielder is still going to hit whoever it is that he wants to, even if they use a sword. And of course, I'm putting Rhodey right here to draw him out. He's on a pillar, so maybe he'll dodge, but odds are he probably won't, but I want him going that direction anyway, just because ours is a little bit more flimsy. Alright, well, don't need to talk about the map design too much, so I guess I can talk about some other subject, like, say, perhaps Fire Emblem Heroes? Anyone play that game? 'Cause if you have, there's actually a storyline in that basically mirrors the prologue of this game. That's the Echoes of Mystery paralogue? I'm pretty sure it's a paralogue and not a full-on story chapter, but either way, yeah, it basically spoils the outline of this plot, except instead of my unit, it's Sharina who gets fooled, because Katarina just comes along for some reason or another. I don't remember what she's trying to do, but eventually she leads you into an enemy ambush, and it's sad because Sharina trusted her, but no, we got betrayed. Oh darn. But afterwards she's like, I hope Katarina's alright. I want to meet her again someday. And you can, because you can summon her. I haven't, though, unfortunately. I did summon one of the other assassins, though. Actually, no, that's not a summon. That's Clarice, who's called Klein in this. But she's a Grand Hero battle. Either way, that's a little too... that's a bit much of a tangent. But anyway, yeah. The point I'm trying to make is, yeah, Heroes kind of just casually spoils the beginning of this game's plot. I mean, it's not like any of the game's major plot points. There are some other things that could count as twists down the line that they don't spoil, but at the same time, like, the Heroes team just seems a-okay with casually spoiling the plots of the Japanese games that, you know, technically speaking, by Nintendo standards, nobody should have played, because, I mean, they don't want us using emulators, so really it should be impossible for anyone from America to actually play New Mystery of the Emblem. I'm not playing it right now because, of course, I can't. It can't happen, because I live in America. You're not actually seeing the game right now. This is a fever dream. Please wake up. I'm worried about you. But yeah, Genealogy is the other game they kind of spoil heavily. Like, I believe a few characters in their 5-star level 40 conversations are just like, here's some stuff that happens in Genealogy the Holy War. And that's an even more obscure game than this one. Like, at least this game's got Marth in it. Like, unless you're really into Fire Emblem, you probably haven't played Genealogy. And even if you are into Fire Emblem, you probably haven't played Genealogy. I mean, I try not to if I can avoid it. But yeah, it's kind of weird that they are just so casual in spoiling that. And I mean, there is a chance they might actually remake this game at some point. Again, this is one with Marth in it, so it's a pretty likely candidate. But in addition, I believe at one point they actually mentioned, or one of the directors mentioned, how if they were going to do any more remakes, they would use the Echoes title, which is gonna get confusing because I prefer referring to Shadows of Valencia as Echoes. It's an easier title. But yeah, there's that, and also the fact that, again, the paralogue chapter is called Echoes of Mystery. So, you know, that seems like it could be a hint, though at the time of recording this, they haven't mentioned anything about that, so who knows? It's still up in the air. Real quick, since we're not quite at the boss yet, I would like to mention that there is actually a possibility that Norn might have been playable during the prologue. there is data of her having a goodbye message before the next chapter, before the prologue ends, in which she says, "Apparently Ryan's wounds are going to heal soon. Isn't that nice?" So the theory I've seen is basically like, if Ryan were defeated in the prologue, then you'd get to use Norn instead. There aren't any other, like, prologue replacement characters. No data has been found involving any sort of thing like that, so it must have been something that was in the works, like, super early, because I find it kind of weird that they would have a replacement character for precisely one character. I mean, it's possible, I just think it's kind of unlikely, you know? That only Ryan would be replaceable, especially since he's not the only archer. You also get Gordon. I mean, granted, Gordon is optional, but still. I would think you'd get like a Pegasus Knight or something. Well, no, actually, Est is the other choice for the previous prologue. I can fight Cain or Est, so I guess there's also more than one Pegasus Knight as well. I guess Mage is like the one other character that doesn't really have like any multiples. Like, we get multiple Cavaliers, there are plenty of sword users, we also don't get another Cleric or anything, but honestly I'm fine with just Rise. Let him dunk on Luke, it was good, we don't need anyone else. Please don't give us any Clerics until Luke is out of the party forever. Alright, well, that takes care of that. Iris is very low on HP, but I'm very impatient, so let's heal her up. Alright, she should have just enough to soak up one attack from Katarina. Considering Katarina's got a pretty powerful tome on her. I believe it's Hellfire? We'll see in a moment, but it's a powerful tome either way. Okay, so that was Tearing Shadows. Of course, it is a song unique to the remake, because it's the theme of the Assassins, and it's a really, really good song. Also, you might have noticed, I was playing pretty risky here. Wouldn't have survived another attack, but I dodged it, so it's fine. I got advantage on that weighted coin flip. Eat that, game. Hey, you know, Iris, like, you could grab her by the hand right now and, I guess, like, arrest her or something. You don't have to just look at her. No, you're gonna let her get away? Alright, well, fine by me. I guess to be fair, if we did arrest her, the drunk masked man probably would just attack us more, and it's better that we let them get away for now. Jagan, do you even know Marth? Yes, Marth. He punishes people so harshly. That's the thing he does all the time. Somebody looks at him funny, they're in jail for the rest of their lives. They're actually in jail for 2 lives. Even when they're dead, they're in jail. They're in dead jail. That'll serve them. Well, gee, I wonder who that could be. So anyway, yeah, remember what I said about how hats are always at the worst possible time? So before it was, hey, the big day's tomorrow, we're gonna graduate at last. By the way, you want a headband? And now it's, hey, a very close friend betrayed you, and now you're emotionally distraught. By the way, you want to take off that headband? Oh, great timing. If only it just, like, added it to a pool. Fates kind of had the best version of that, because you just had accessories that you could put on at any time. And, you know, you could choose whether or not you wanted to ruin the cutscenes with the dumbest accessories. By the way, you never figure out what Drog's talking about. I have no clue why he trailed off, or what he would have said had he not trailed off. It'll forever be a mystery. Of the emblem? Thank you for dunking on Luke. I mean, as a healer, you're not that good, but like, I'll never forget that magnificent dunk. I mean, yeah, it's only the prologue. Wait, what? No, you can do that pretty well. Seda, did you see the last fight we were in? The one that happened like 2 minutes ago? You did really well in that one, actually. Seda, please, come on, stop doubting yourself. Well, yeah, it's kind of Iris's job to do favors for you. You know, being a knight and all. Okay, again, like, I'm not a big fan of monarchy or anything, but like, does nobody know how this knight thing works?